tell us like how could we solve this problem. This paper is a very straightforward, but the syllabus is a little bit long. Syllabus is a little bit long. We can see here we have to cover this 12 chapter. We have to cover this 12 chapter for this book. Now every chapter will have like some exercise, some example, and we'll we'll definitely do every single activity we have on the book. So every single test we have in every single chapter will follow every single chapter with the explanation, with the activities, and with the example, and try to understand as detailed as possible. Our course plan, let me tell you the course plan. So we have 12 chapters, and every class we try to cover at least 3 chapters. If the chapter is not really big, we try to do at least 3 chapters in every class, and hopefully in 4 classes will be completed our bookkeeping transaction. And once we completed this transaction paper, we're going to start, before we start our control, we'll have a mock exam. And after the mock exam, we'll do our final exam. So we completed this paper first. So we're going to pass this paper. And after that, we're going to start the new paper that will be bookkeeping control. So within our 4 weeks plus 2 weeks. So 6 weeks, this paper will be done. So you'll be completed, you'll pass this paper. Then you're going to start our next paper that will be control. Now the bookkeeping control is a bit small syllabus area. So we have to do only 6 chapters from there. So it will take, let's say, 3 weeks to complete the book. And after that, we'll do the same way mock and the final, and we'll end up with this course. So roughly we could say 11 and 12 weeks time will be AAT level 2 qualified. The class time will be every week, Monday, same time, 6 o'clock. We're going to follow the same timing. And we try to cover at least 3 chapters. So our plan is like to cover this whole books within 4 classes. And after the class, once we finish all these chapters, we'll have revision class. On the revision class, we try to pick exam types questions. We're gonna pick a question that exactly we have seen in the exam. And this question we're going to solve together. So that will be really helpful to understand what type of question will come in the exam. Then we'll do the mock, then we'll do the final. So hopefully if you go with like the class, if you join class on time, and if we try to understand everything and do some revise, hopefully this course is not difficult and all of you can end up with a very good score. And I hope like after that, you will know your debit and credit, how to record all the transaction and how to enter your journal in the systems. Okay, so, and during our lesson time, if you have any question, you can always write it down for me, but you cannot of course speak, but you can write it down. I'll definitely explain that. And once we completed the class, this class will be recorded and this class will be on your EMS portal. So you can again see this class if you need to. For example, if you think I want to go through with something or I want to see the class again, the videos, you can always see that. So in every week, it will be updated, like uploaded all the video and you can see there. So this is one of the good advantages. Okay, so let's start with our today's class. As of course, like we don't see each other, hopefully like we only meet the student during the exam time, and but we always speak on our chatting option. We always talk to each other regarding the topic, the area. If you have any confusion, you can always write it down, and you have my email now. So of course, like if you have any question during your revision, during your study time, you can always email me. Not only for the study purpose, like anything relevant to the exam, anything, if you have any question regarding AAT, you can always email me. I'll definitely get back to you. Okay, let's start with the first chapter. So let's have a look what we have. The exam will be 1.5 hours and the pass mark will be 70. So you have to score 70% to pass both exams. So there'll be 2 exams, transaction and control separately. And for each exam, you have to score 70%. All right, so Business documents. Chapter number 1, business documentation. Now, of course, like as I said, this paper is started from the scratch. You don't have to have a accounting knowledge or accounting background to start your level 2 with AAT. Because this one, you're going to start from very, very scratch. So if you never know about anything accounting, we can still learn everything from there. So let's have a look. Our first chapter. On the first chapter, we'll look at the chapter overview. On the chapter overview, we can see what we're going to see from this chapter, chapter number 1. The first thing here, they said business documentation. So what type of document business have or business keep? I want to tell you one thing. This is not relevant to the AAT level 2, but every business have to keep the documentation up to 6 years. This is by law. So by law, every business has to keep the legal documents or any invoice, any documentation up to 6 years. So within 6 years, HMRC can come anytime and they can ask for evidence. They said, you claim for like 5,000 for the expense, 5,000 for the income. Where is it? So they can always ask and they can go back up to 6 years. So that's why business documents is really, really important. So every company, they have to keep the business documentation up to 6 years. On the business documentation, we have a coding system. We're going to see how we can create a code. Coding system. Now, code means when you give an identical number or reference number to an individual customer. For example, if we said like, let's say we have a bank account. Now, if we call to our bank, let's say we have a bank account with HSBC, and we call HSBC and said, let's say I said, my name is Sajid, and I am one of your customers. Now, HSBC will tell me, listen, I cannot find you with the name because I have a lot of customers with the same name. So you have to give me the account number. You need to tell me the reference number. So as soon as I tell my reference number, they will find me very, very easily. So same thing we do for the customer. So when we have a lot of customer, we allocate a customer code. We allocate a customer code to every single customer. So when the customer call me, I tell, can I have your account number? Can I have your customer number? Can I have your reference number so that I can find you really quick? Now, how could we create the reference number? Because the reference number has to be unique, isn't it? The reference number cannot be same to like 2 or 3 customers. So how could we create the coding system? So we're going to see from this chapter. Then incidental expenses. Now, incidental expenses is like called petty cash voucher. Now, petty cash voucher means small expenses, very, very small expenses. For example, you paid £2 for the tea, £2 for the coffee, maybe £5 for the stationery, £5 for your taxi fare. So all the small expenses, we called it petty cash. So we're going to see how we create the petty cash voucher. Now, the meaning of the voucher is a paper. The voucher is a paper. It's like a half of the paper, and you write it down why the expense why you paid for. So what is the expense for? For example, if the expense was for coffee, you write it down, expense was for coffee, you paid to whom, when did you pay it? Because when there is a small expenses, there is no invoice, there is no record. And when you paid cash, there is no more evidence for that. So you keep as a voucher. So on the voucher, on the paper, you write it down detail about these expenses. And you called it petty cash voucher. The next step we're going to say, this is called process. Business documentation process. Now, when you buy something, so we have a 2 type of process. One is selling process. One is buying process. One is selling process, one is buying process. Now, even the person who sells, for example, if you are the seller, if you buy the product to the customer, you have to buy it from somewhere, isn't it? Let's say you are the person who sells cake. Now, if you are the seller of cake, you have to make the cake. And to make the cake, you have to buy the bread, you have to buy the eggs, maybe flour, other stuff. So at the same time, you are seller, and at the same time, you are buyer too. So that's why we have a two type of process. One is buying process, one is selling process. Now both process have some steps. Both process we have some documentation to keep. Now every steps there is a documentation need to be generated, and this document we have to keep up to 6 years. For example, we talk about buying process. We talk about a buying process. Let's say you are the person who work as a bookkeeper in a company. So you work as a bookkeeper for a company, and your manager said, let's say said, Peter, can you buy some stationery? Like let's say you buy paper, a lot of paper. So can you buy like 500 box of paper? Now what you'll do? So Peter said, yes, I can do that. So what is the first step? The first step is like to check the price of the paper, isn't it? So Peter just don't do like buy from anywhere. So he just don't go online and anything he find he buy. No, what he do first, he make the comparison. He'll go to 3-4 company and found which company give the better quality with the cheaper price. So Peter look at one company, 2 company, 3 company, and every company he send an email. So Peter sent an email to 3 or 4 company and saying, I want to buy 500 boxes of paper. Can you tell me the price? And I want like 100 GSM, or what is the requirement Peter have. So Peter sent an email to 4 company. And after that, 4 company replied to Peter and said, thank you for your email, Peter. Based on your requirement, your price will be £500. Another company said 550. Another company said 495. So 4 company will offer 4 different price based on the inquiry, and we called it quotation. This one called it quotation. So when we send an inquiry and when the supplier get back to us, when the supplier get back to us, we called it inquiry. Now this inquiry is depends on the customer from the customer choice. For example, the customer can say I want to buy it. Customer can say I don't want to buy it. So it all depends on the customer. Remember, quotation is not an actual order. Quotation is just an open offer from the supplier. For example, if you decided to buy 500 computer, you check with Dell, you check with HP, you check with Lenovo, and you ask everyone what is the price. And based on the requirement, so they send you the price and you decide you want to buy from which company. So the quotation is open offer, it's not an order. So when you send an inquiry and the reply come back from your supplier, we called it quotation. And this is step number 1. Process number 1. We said P1, process number 1. So what is the documentation we generate in this process? So the documentation here is called quotation. For example, if your manager asks you, I ask you to make some inquiry about 500 computer, have you done it? And you said, yes, I did. And what is the evidence? What is the evidence? How do you prove your manager like you did it? You said, this is the quotation. So your evidence and your documents is quotation. The next one is the next process. Once you are happy with the quotation, what is the next step? The next step is to order the product. For example, out of 4 company, you are happy with 1 company and you make the order. You said, thank you for your email. I'm happy to buy some product from you. I'm happy with your price and the quality. I want to buy 500 boxes of paper from you. So you're making an order. Process number 2, you're making an order. That's your process number 2. And what is the documents you're going to generate on process number 2? Customer order. So in future, if someone asks me, did you make the order? I said, yes, I make the order. What is the evidence? The evidence is customer order. Then process number 3. On process number 3, once we make the order, we receive the product. Remember, it's not the shopping we do on our everyday life. So what we do in our everyday life, we order the product and we pay it fast and we receive the product. For example, if you want to buy something from online, what we do, we select the product, we pay fast, then the delivery comes. But in business, it's never happened. In business, you receive the product fast, then you pay. So 99% time, 99% time, product always purchase or sell on credit. 99% time, product purchase or sell on credit in business, unless you don't have any credit account with the supplier. Now, for example, I'm a new customer and I don't have any business relationship with Dell. And if I send an inquiry or if I make an order to Dell 1000 computer, Dell not going to send the delivery. Dell will tell me, listen, you are very new in the business and I don't have any past record with you. I don't know you personally. So I'm not going to send you until you make a payment. And this is like at the first time at the beginning has happened. So once I have the order, I paid, maybe the next order, I make the order, I receive the product, and later on I paid. So 99% sale and purchase happen in business with the credit, not immediate payment. Okay, so what happened? Process number 3, good dispatch. So that means the good has been dispatched. Good has been sent off to the customer. This is process number 3. After the order, the goods need to be delivered. What is the documents? What is the evidence we have? The evidence we have delivery note. Now the delivery note, more or less everyone, we know what is delivery note. So when the delivery man come to our door, we open the door and the delivery man is there. And they said, after giving the box, they said, can you make a sign? So this is the confirmation that you received the product. This is the confirmation that you have received the product, and this is called delivery note. Now, sometimes the delivery note cannot be confirmed at the same time. For example, let's say think about Tesco. They receive a whole lorry of delivery. They didn't order one product, 2 products. So they order the whole lorry and they receive the delivery, the full lorry come, and the warehouse manager, he cannot check every single product. So whatever he ordered, there is a few pallets, so many pallets, they cannot check everything. So they just received the product. They said, we received it, but on the checking, they don't write anything. He don't write anything because he cannot check immediately. It takes time because there is thousands of products inside of the pallet on the lorry. So they keep the product and slowly they check everything. After that, they let the purchase department know we receive everything or we didn't receive everything. So when you receive the delivery in business, it might say like not check at the same time. Okay, so you receive the product. After that, once you receive the product, now your supplier will ask for money. So you receive the product, you're happy with that, or you don't happy, it doesn't matter. You receive the product, then after a few weeks, maybe 1 week or 2 weeks, they send you a paper to you because you receive the product now, you have to pay the money. So they send a paper to you, and this is called invoice. So payment request. Payment request from the supplier to the customer. Payment request from the supplier to the customer, because customer buy the product, now he or she need to make the payment. So supplier send a paper. On the paper it said, you buy from me 500 computer, the price is this, so can you make a payment? And this paper we called invoice. This paper is called invoice. This is process number 4. This paper is called invoice. Now after the invoice you received, before you make the payment, you check the product or the goods. You want to see, is there anything you want to return? Is there any product you don't need? Is there any product is damaged? Is there any product you ordered but comes the wrong product? You check everything. And if you have any issues, for example, you order 500 computer and you receive 495, so 5 didn't come. Maybe you receive 500 computer and 5 computer don't work. Maybe you receive 500 computer and you don't need 500, so 50 you need to return. So if any reason you have to return something, so you do here. You return the good. So you do good returns. You return the good. And once you return the good to the supplier, you receive the credit note. Remember, return means credit note. Return means credit note. As soon as you see the word credit note, this one is always in the exam, credit note. As soon as you see the word credit note, that means you need to understand return is involved with that, either return or discount. This is the only two reasons we use credit note. After that, if you return or if you don't return, if you happy with the product or after returning, whatever is the balance, what you do, you make the payment. This is process number 6. The final process, you make the payment to the supplier. Now, once you make the payment, once you have made the payment to the supplier, you let the supplier know you make the payment. So for example, if you buy some computer from Dell and you just make the payment, but Dell have thousands of customers and Dell don't know who paid on which day. Every day they're receiving a lot of money. So you need to tell to Dell, you need to send an email to Dell and say, I have made the payment today, £50,000 or £100,000 today. This is my customer number and your company detail. So you need to tell or you need to inform Dell that you make the payment. So this process is called remittance advice. Remember that remittance advice means you let your supplier know that you make the payment. This is simple as this. It could be sent by text message. It could be over the phone. You tell like, I make the payment so that they can update your account. And this process is called remittance advice. You're advising him that I make the payment so that he can update your account. So he don't expect any money from you. Now, sometimes when you make the payment, sometimes the supplier can ask you, can I get the remittance? Can I get the remittance? Remittance means they're asking for the evidence. Now I'll tell you what is it. For example, if you work as a bookkeeper and if you are the person who is in charge of buying so many things for the company, remember when you buy something by using the bank card, you always keep the remittance. Now what is remittance? Remittance is when you make the payment, then one page pop in on your bank and it says money has been transferred or money has been paid to this account, this sort code, and this one pop into your screen on the computer, and this one is called remittance. So this is the evidence that you make the payment. Now this page is printable. So some bank they said like remittance pop in, so you can print it out, you can save it. But remember, if you are the person, you are the bookkeeper, and if you need to order it, if you order the item or if you need to purchase for the company, make sure you always keep the record for the remittance, because your supplier later on they said I didn't receive the money, so you need to send the remittance as a proof so that they can see yes, you make the payment. All right, so this is all about the process. I hope you have a little bit idea now about the buying process. Now we move to our inside of the chapter to see details so that we can understand more. Let's move on to our inside the chapter. Okay, so one more thing I want to discuss here, the cash sale and the credit sale. Okay, so we have a 2 point here. One is cash sale and one is credit sale. Let's have a look what is the difference between the cash sale and the credit sale. I'll make it very simple for you. Cash sale is when you paid immediately for that. When you paid immediately for the product or for the services, we called it cash sale. And when you said, I'll pay you later, we called it credit sale. For example, if you go to Tesco and you buy the product, let's say you buy a bottle of water and you get the water and you paid for that. So this is the immediate payment. This is called cash sale. Now, very, very careful, please, very, very careful. Cash sale doesn't mean you pay by cash. Cash sale doesn't mean you pay by cash. Cash sale is you paid immediately on the same time. So you can pay by bank card, you can pay by bank transfer, you can pay by check, you can pay by any other form. But if you paid immediately for that, we called it cash sale. But if you said, I'm going to pay you later. Let's say you buy something now and you paid after 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You said, I'll pay you later. This is a credit sale. And doesn't matter you paid by cash. Even though you paid by cash, this is still a credit sale because you paid later. So if the customer paid to the supplier later or not immediately, we called it credit sale. If the customer paid immediately, we called it cash sale. Cash sale doesn't mean it's cash. Cash sale means immediate paid. Please remember that. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's do one of the activities here, one of the tests we have. Activity 1. We'll try to do all the activity together. So we'll read the question slowly, everyone at the same time, and you can tell me what you think the answer, and we can discuss if you don't understand it. Okay, the first one here, this is activity 1. They said cash or credit sale. They're asking us to identify, is it a cash sale or credit sale? Tara sells goods to Kathy. Tara sells goods to Kathy for £100, and they agree Kathy will pay Tara in cash in 2 weeks' time. So Kathy basically will pay to Tara in cash, but in 2 weeks' time. So the question here is, it is a cash transaction or credit transaction? This is the question. Now, if we understand the meaning of the cash and credit transaction, I hope all of you can answer this question without any trouble, because we don't have to be like focused. Tara paying by cash or credit card doesn't matter. Tara is paying later on after 2 weeks. We're absolutely clear, like this is a credit transaction. Very well done, Tofile. Very well done, Sabir. Khalid. Yes, you got the right answer. This is our credit transaction. Very well done. That's not a cash transaction because they are paying later. So the question will try to make you confused by writing the word cash. So can you follow the cash? But it's not. But if you know the definition of the answer, will not be in the trap. Okay, so let's move on to our next point here. This one we already discussed, but have a look once again. Business documentation cell. The first thing is we do quotation. So we ask for the quotation. What is the document? Quotation of price list. So before we buy something or sell something, either we receive the quotation or we send the quotation. And what is the document? Quotation and the price list. Very, very careful. You need to remember that because it will be in the exam and they will make one of the box empty. You have to write what is the evidence for that. Number 2, order place. What is the evidence? Customer order. Number 3, goods dispatch. What is the documents? Delivery note. Number 4, payment request. What is the evidence? Invoice. Number 5, good return. What is the evidence? Credit note. And the final one, payment. What is the document? Remittance advice. So we need to know all of this. Quotation, the documentation is quotation. Order, the documentation is customer order. Then goes dispatch, delivery note. Then payment request, invoice. Then we have a good return, that is our credit note. And we have payment, and the documentation will be remittance advice. Now, goods may be sent to vendor. Vendor means supplier. Sometimes some students say, what is vendor? Vendor means supplier. Vendor means supplier. Okay, so this is the process. I think we know this now. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, the next one is illustration number 1. Now, illustration number 1 telling us how the quotation look like. How the quotation look like. So you can see here, Toby Parts is the supplier. They are sending a quotation, and the quotation will be always written as a quotation. Quotation will be always written, this is a quotation. To Pavinco, Pavinco Limited is our customer. So what happening here? Toby Parts is saying, thank you for your inquiry, because I'm receiving the quotation because of my inquiry, isn't it? I have sent an email to them and they're replying to me with the quotation. Thank you for your inquiry. The prices you requested are as follow. The dishwasher is £300 per unit plus VAT, and discount 10% is straight discount. We'll talk about the discount later on, but for the time being, we talk about the VAT. VAT is 20%. Remember, VAT rate is always 20%, is fixed. When we receive the quotation, very careful one thing, the product code need to be there. The product code need to be there. Why? Because dishwasher have different models. Let's say one dishwasher you can find it £200. The same thing, another dishwasher, very good model, very good company, is £2,000. Now, if you just say I order 100 dishwasher and they send anyone to you, so you cannot prove like which one you order. So that's why it's very important. The product code needs to be there. So you said, listen, I ordered this one, and you send me another one, so that you can identify the right product is received. This is how the quotation look like. Okay, let's move on. After the quotation, we see order. So if we're happy with the quotation, we make the order. And every order have an order number. Like even for example, if you buy something from McDonald's, there is order number. So they give us a receipt, and on the top of the receipt, we can see the order number. This order number tell us like exactly which product I have ordered for specific order. For example, you can buy same thing from the same supplier so many times. Let's say you are the one who sell computer, so you keep buying computer from the Dell. Now, let's say you have order number 1, order number 2, and if there is no order number, you don't know which order you're checking. So let's say you have a lot of invoice and you don't know for which invoice you're paying. So every order number and the invoice number has to match. Otherwise, you'll be very confused if there is no order number. So very important, every order should have a number. To the Toby Parts Limited, that's the supplier sending. And now I'm making the order. Now I'm making the actual order. So I'm saying, please supply 40 dishwasher. Please supply 40 dishwasher, and the product code is 1842. Please supply 40 dishwasher, and the product code is 1842. The price is 300 plus VAT, less trade discount as agreed. Now we have a different type of discount. Let me tell you what type of discount we have. We have a chapter for the discount, but for the time being, I'm just quickly saying in chapter number 3, we're going to see all this discount. We have a trade discount. The first discount every business gets. When business buys something from the business, they have to make the profit, isn't it? For example, if you have a small shops and if you buy Coca-Cola, let's say you buy Coca-Cola can or bottle from the Coca-Cola company. Now, if you buy every bottle is £1, so you paid £1. So you need to sell more than £1, isn't it? So sometimes you see on the Coke bottle is written the price is like £2, the price is £1, and that means like you paid £1 to the Coca-Cola company and you're selling £1. What is the profit? Because if you buy by spending £1 and if you sell to £1, so where is your profit? So this profit comes from the trade discount. If you tell the Coca-Cola company, listen, if I buy from you £1 and if I sell £1 to the customer, what I'm getting, what is my profit? And this company will tell you, listen, I'll give you trade discount. I'll give you trade discount. So let's say I'll give you 20% trade discount. This is your profit. So I'll do the invoice on the total amount. So I'm going to charge you £1, but on total price, I'll give you 20% off. This 20% will be your profit. So this is number 1. First discount normally the business get. Number 2, discount number 2, we got another discount that is called bulk discount. B-U-L-K, bulk, B-U-L-K, bulk discount. Bulk discount is about when you buy a lot of quantity. You can see the word is called bulk. Bulk means huge quantity. If you buy a lot of product at the same time, if you buy a lot of product at the same time, you receive this type of discount. It's called bulk discount. So the company might say like, if you buy 1,000 bottle, it's £1. But if you buy more than 1,000, I can make it 90 pence. Sometimes we go to Tesco or Sainsbury, we see like buy one £3, but 2 for £5. So they're basically pushing you They're pushing you buy more. They give little bit discount so that you can take the discount. This is called bulk discount. So it depends on the quantity. Large quantity discount is bulk discount. Finally, we got another discount that is called prom discount. P-R-O-M, prom discount. Sometimes this is called settlement discount. Settlement discount. So this discount is given to the customer if the customer pay early. For example, if you ask me how much is the standard time of payment for the invoice, for example, that day I received the invoice, from that day, how many days I have to make the payment? The standard term is 30 days. So from the date of the invoice, you have 30 days to make the payment to the supplier. Now, sometimes suppliers said, the standard terms is 30 days, but if you can pay me, if it is possible, if you can pay me within 10 days, I'll give you 2% off. If you can pay me within 10 days, I'll give you 2% off. There is no hard and soul like rules for that. You have to pay, but if you can pay, I'll give you 2% additional discount. Now, this is up to you. This is up to me. This is up to the customer. We want to take the offer or not. So if the customer think I have a lot of money in the bank, the customer will say, okay, why not take it because I'll get 2% off extra. But if the customer said, no, I don't think so, I'm going to take the offer, there is no harm. So this is called prom discount. So 3 types of discount you can see in the business. We're going to see in detail later on chapter number 3. But for the time being, understand this is your discount. So now you understand trade discount to make some profit, bulk discount when you buy a large quantity, prom discount for the early settlement. All right, so let's move on. This is the delivery note, how the delivery note look like. So when the delivery man bring the paper for you, sometimes there's 2 paper, one with the white, one with the little bit dark color. So you write on the top and the sign, you received it, and the sign is automatically go to another page with the carbon. So this is the delivery note. So you're confirming you received the product. So you can see all this detail here, what you received, 40 dishwasher, product number this, and you received by to the signature, I received, printed name here, and the date. This is the delivery note. This is just some template to show you how this look like, nothing else. So this is the main thing we need to understand, the invoice. Invoice is very important because this is the word we listen everyday life, isn't it? Invoice, 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 invoice. What is invoice? Invoice is the payment request. Sent by whom? Sent by the supplier. To whom? To the customer. For what? For the payment. Which payment? The product or service you have taken from me. So what the service or product you buy from me, you need to pay for that. And I'm sending a paper, this is called invoice. What we should have in the invoice. Remember, certain things need to be on the invoice. If certain things do not include on the invoice is not valid. For example, the invoice number. If there is no invoice number on the invoice, you don't take this invoice. For example, if you work for a company and someone brings the invoice for you and you see it and there is no invoice number, don't take this invoice. This invoice is not valid. If there is no invoice number, you say, can you write it down invoice number? Because this invoice have no number. You have to keep the number for that. The next one is date. If there is no date on the invoice, this invoice is not valid. Why? Because you don't know this invoice from last month or from last year. Maybe you have a long-term relationship with this supplier and mistakenly one supplier send you the invoice again after 2 years. And you don't know, you don't remember that. So you paid the invoice again. So that's why it's very important, the invoice date, so that you understand for which purchase order they're charging you. Then obviously the supplier name will be always in the top. The supplier name always will be in the top on the invoice. So on the top middle, you see the company name. This is the supplier who sent you the product. On the left corner, you see the customer detail, customer name and their address. And on the description, you will see the quantity, how many product you buy, 40, the product code, what product you buy, list price, total list price. So list price means, remember that list price means before any discount. List price means before any discount. So let's say if I say the price is 10,000, but I know I'll make you 8,000. So I'll give you 2,000 discount. So list price is 10,000, but I'll sell less than that, doesn't matter. List price means without any discount, before the discount. So let's say for this example, the list price is 12,000. Net amount after discounts, after the discount is 10,800, and the VAT is 2,160, and the gross. Gross means net plus VAT. Gross means net plus VAT. So if someone tell you £100, if someone tell you sales price is £100, if they say this amount is gross, you need to understand the VAT is already inside. If they say this is a net, you need to understand there is no VAT inside. So as soon as you heard the word gross, that means the VAT is inside. If you heard the word net, there is no VAT inside. Gross, VAT inside. Net, there is no VAT inside. All right, so net plus VAT total is the gross. Let's move on. Let's have a look to some example maybe. There is a lot of explanation of the invoice. You can read everything, but you'll see how to prepare the invoice. Activity 2. On activity 2, we're going to see preparing an invoice, how to prepare an invoice. So remember, if you work for a company as a bookkeeper, this is the job you have to do. So if you sell something to the customer, so your manager will tell you, send some invoice to this customer, and you need to know how to prepare the invoice. Now, the first question is like, before we prepare the invoice, what we need. For example, if my manager tell me, Sajid, can you make some invoice? What I'm going to tell my manager, what I need from him. I'll tell him, can I have the order the customer make or the delivery note? I need two things, either the order or the delivery note. So that I need to know what product I have sent, what was the price, what was the discount, what was the quantity. So I need to know all of this. If I don't have it, I cannot prepare the invoice. If they said send a invoice to Sabera, I cannot send the invoice to Sabera because I need this detail first, how much I'm going to charge to Sabera. So let's have a look here. In this example, they said preparing an invoice. Okay, that's fine. On 1st August 2000, Garden Grids delivered the following goods to a credit customer, Super Stores. Garden Grids delivered the following goods to a credit customer, Super Stores. Garden Grids is a supplier who send the goods to the customer, Superstore. So Superstore is the customer. That's why this is a supplier. This is the customer. Then you have a delivery note number 39483. Customer account code, that is SS454. Okay. So what the Superstore buy from this Garden Grids? They buy 200 cases of bottle of vinegar. 200 cases of bottle of vinegar. And the product code is F250. All right. The list price of the good, £10. The list price of the goods, £10 plus VAT 20%. Now, from this information, for example, we don't know how to prepare the invoice. We don't know anything. We just want to know how much you're going to charge from this customer, even if I'm not the person from the accounting background, or even if I don't know what is invoice, but still I can tell my customer like this amount you need to pay, isn't it? I can charge the right amount. So how can I charge that? So let's say the first one I'm going to start with list price. List price means before the discount. How much is the list price? 200 cases of vinegar, and every bottle is £10, isn't it? Every bottle is per case is £10, and how many cases? 200 cases. So that will give me 2,000, the list price. So list price before the discount. There is no discount. I don't see like the supplier give me any trade discount, any bulk discount, no discount they give. So this is my list price. After that, all I need to do, I need to add the VAT. I'm going to say VAT 20% on this amount. So 2,000 times 20% should be 400. And My total will be how much? 2,400. This is the story of the invoice. But when I include all of this on the invoice, I have to follow a template. Let's have a look what else information I might need on the invoice. I need, of course, the product code number and something else. Let's have a look. This is the invoice. Let's complete the invoice. We said customer account code, that is SS454. SS454. Then we need the delivery note number, that is on the customer order. So you can see it, delivery note number 39483. 39483. 39483. And the quantity, how many quantity you have ordered? 200 case. Product code F250. Total list price 2000. VAT 400 and the gross 2,400. So that's how we can complete the invoice. This is the very easy one because there is no discount here. So next one we're going to see maybe with the discount. Let's have a look. If you have any question during any activity, please make sure you write it down so that I can explain to you again. All right. Let's move on to the next activity. Let's talk about the coding system. Let's read what is coding system. Say we saw a verb that sales invoice generally have a customer code on them to denote the particular customer, and similarly communication from the buyer to have a supplier code. So for the customer we have a customer code, for the supplier we have a supplier code. Invoice and credit note also routinely include on the product codes for the item sold. Of course, like if you have a coding system, it's really good for us to identify the customer and the supplier very quickly, isn't it? Now we're going to see how we create the code. Let's have a look. I'll tell you how we create the code. So now the question will tell you exactly what you need to do. Sometimes, let's have a look. So in this example on the explanation, they are saying you're taking the first 3 alphabetic letter from the name. So for example, Wellington Limited, we take the first 3 alphabets, W-E-L, and we are saying 001 because we don't have any customer name start with W. So for example, let's do this one. This activity will be more clear. I'll tell you how to do that. So this question we don't have for the code. They already give us the code. For example, we have a supplier Angus Limited. So the code is ANG42. Doris Day, the code is DOR32. How to create the code we're going to see very soon, but for the time being, let's complete this invoice. Coding system. Let's do this activity together. So they said, complete, this is invoice received from a supplier. So we receive an invoice from a supplier. Let's have a look what is missing, what you need to complete. So this is a supplier code they're asking to complete, and the general ledger code. This is our supply information, supplier code. This is the general ledger code. So who is the supplier here? That's the question. Toby or the Pavin? Who is our supplier? Toby Parts Limited or Pavin Co Limited? Who is the supplier? Who can tell me who is the supplier on this invoice? How do I know who is the supplier? Toby or the Pavin? Okay, this is very, very important to know because remember, as I said, supply will be always on the top. Supply will be always on the top. Supply will be always on the top. Whoever it is, supply will be always on the top. So Toby is our supplier. And who is our customer? Our customer will be on the left corner, Paving. So Paving is our customer and Toby is our supplier. So we understand this one. If you understand this one, our life will be so easy to identify the coding for them. So let's do that. Supplier code. So what will be the code for supplier? Who can tell me what will be the code So Toby Parts Limited, and the code will be TOB51. Very well done. TOB51. They already give us the code, Peter, so we can see the code already here. That is TOB51. So you're going to see TOB51. And the general ledger code, we can see here. What did you buy from them? Telephones. What will be the code for that telephone? So for the telephone, we can see the code will be GL119 because this is the office telephone. Very well done, Tufail. Very well done, Tamina. Yes, this is the right answer. GL119. This is our answer for the general code for the telephone. And how we create the code, we're going to see it very soon. Okay, so let's move on. Now we're going to see how to create the code. Activity 4. Let's see how to create the code. So Toby Parts Limited allocate a customer code to each of its customer as shown below. So every customer have a customer code. You can see this one is the customer name. This is the customer code. This code is made up of the first 3 letters of the customer name. First 3 letters of the customer name followed by a number which is allocated sequentially to the next customer in that alphabetical group. That means, for example, if I have a customer name, let's say I have a customer named Anna. So what will be the code for them? So I'm going to take the first 3 letters. So I'm going to take A full, and I'm going to see how many customers we already have name start with A. Very, very careful. I look at the first letter. I look at the A because this customer name start with A. I'm going to see, do I have any customer whose name already start with A? So I can see I have a 1 customer and 2 customer, their name start with A. So I'm going to give the code 03 because I already have 2 customers, the name start with A. Very careful. Only I'm looking at the first alphabet, that is A. So for example, if I have a 1 customer, let's say Tahmina. So Tahmina, what will be the customer code for Tahmina? Can anyone tell me? What will be the customer code for Tahmina? So if I have a new customer named Tahmina, so what code I'm going to allocate to her? So I'm going to say TAH, and I'm going to write TAH and 01 because I don't have any customer here name start with T. So that will be 01. Very well done, Farida. Very well done, Evelina. Yes, you got it. You understand this. That's very well done. So now we look at the question. So we can see here, there's a Toby Parts Limited has 2 new credit customers. So now I have 2 new credit customers. Credit customer means the customer pay me later. We have 2 types of customer, isn't it? Cash and credit. So credit customer means pay later, which need to allocate a customer code. So I have a 2 new customers, I need to give them some code. So I have 1 customer Dokea Limited. I have 1 customer Jury Limited. That's fine. You know how to do it. Let's give the code. So the first customer is Dokea. So what code I'm going to give for Dokea? I'm going to give DOC, the first 3 letter DOC, and I'm going to give 01. Very well done, Chetas. Very well done, Sharon. Yes. So 01. And for the next customer, Jury Limited. Sadia, how come you have Jury Limited 01? Because you already have 2J. See that? You already have 2 customer names start with J. Chetas is not 01. You need to understand. So you didn't get the question yet. Because this is JUR. That's fine. But number will depend how many customers we already have. We start with J. I already have two customers, 1 and 2. Their name start with J. So obviously the next new customer, I'm not gonna give the number 01. I'll give 03. So I always look at the first number, and if I find I already have a customer name with that, so I give the next number. All right, very well done, Sadia. Okay, so any question from here? Any question to like you need an explanation how to make the customer code? This question always in the exam, even for 2 marks, but this one is solid 2 marks. You're not going to lose any marks for this question because you know how to make it. It's a very easy question, and if you know it, you don't have to spend a lot of time. Just quickly, like in a minute, you get 2 marks. All right, so let's move on. Okay, this is the end of the chapter, chapter number 1. We move to chapter number 2 now. Let's move on chapter number 2. Chapter number 2. Okay, chapter number 2 is called Book of Prime Entry. You can see the chapter name, Books of Prime Entry. Now, Books of Prime Entry. What is Book of Prime Entry? Let's talk about Book of Prime Entry first. So we have 2 types of book the business keep. One is Book of Prime Entry, one is subsidiary book. Book of Prime Entry means you have to keep it. For example, if you do a business and you say, this is my business, I don't want to keep any record because I'm the owner of the business and I don't want to keep any record. Can you do that? You cannot do that because when you open a business, when you open a company, you agree the terms and condition. I know most of us, like, we never read the terms and condition. We just scroll it down, click accept, I accept the terms and condition and submit. Because terms and condition is too big, so many pages, we never read. But at the end, you will stuck with the terms and condition. Sometimes this terms and condition is so important, even though we skip in our everyday life, but this is not very good behavior. Recently, what happened, the company I work with, they get a contract with WorldPay, like WorldPay, they take the card payment, and the 2 guys came with they're selling their product and they're explaining everything, like you will get this is the interest rate, this is that, everything they explain. And our director, he is happy with that, and he just said, okay, that's fine, go with that. And he buy 2 machines, like for taking the payment from the customers, so from the WorldPay. And after we start using this machine, we found like after 7 days and 10 days, the customer paying by card, but money doesn't appear on the bank account, so money is not coming. So we said, like, what is this? Then we called to the WorldPay, and we found the money will come after 30 days. So if the customer pay me today, the money will come to my bank account after 30 days. And that was like so horrible. Like, how come like you wait 30 days and they hold your money 30 days? So we said, no, we don't want this type of thing, because 30 days you hold the customer money. Obviously in 30 days, a lot of money will be there, and we need money to run the business. So obviously you cannot hold everything. And they said, sorry, we cannot do anything because you signed the contract. And of course it was on the terms and condition and you didn't read it. So this is not our fault. And we said, like, we want to cancel it. And they said, even if you cancel, you have to pay for the next 2 years because the contract is for 2 years. So we had to pay like £1,300 just to cancel for 1 week. So we took the services and we didn't use it and just pay £1,300 for nothing, just signing a paper. So when you will do something, make sure you, like, when the person explained to you, the salesman or the customer service, they know if they tell you, you're not gonna take it. So they're not gonna tell the weak point, but the terms and condition, make sure you always see that is very helpful. So what we was there, so we was like, what happened if the director or owner of the business, they said, like, I don't want to keep the record. I don't want to keep any record, how much I sell, how much I purchase. I don't want to write it down. So HMRC said, no, you cannot do it. Because if you want to do the business, you have to keep some record, definitely. Some record you cannot say, I don't want to keep. And other record, you might say, I want to keep, I don't want to keep. The subsidiary book, The subsidiary books means the additional book. You want to keep, you don't want to keep, HMRC will never ask you. But the books of prime entry, definitely the HMRC can come and ask you, where is your books of prime entry? Now, we need to know how many books of prime entry you have. It's very, very important. Books of prime entry will help us to understand, am I going to missing something? So for example, if you work for a company, so you need to tell your manager or director, like, listen, these 6 books I have to keep. Doesn't matter we need it or not, this is the books of prime entry. Anytime inspection can come and they'll ask you, where is your books of prime entry? And we need to show this record to them. So we cannot say we don't have it. Okay, so let's have a look. What is books of prime entry? So on the books of prime entry, the first book we can see here, that is cash book. Cash book is all about how much money into the business and how much money going out from the business. So for example, if you receive money for any reason from the customer, for the bank interest, for any reason, if you receive the money from anyone to your business, if money in, we record on the cash book debit side. If money going out, we record on the cash book credit side. For the time being, we don't have to understand what is debit credit because we have a chapter for that. But just to understand, cash book is all about money in and money out. The real money, the actual money, not the credit sale. Remember that. Credit sale or credit purchase means I'm not paying now or I'm not receiving now. Cash book is only dealing with how much actually received and how much actually paid. The next one we're going to see, sales day book. Sales day book is all about how much sales we make. How much sales we make. What type of sale? Only credit sale. Please remember, on sales day book, we only record the credit sale. On sales day book, we only record the credit sale. We do not record any type of cash sale on the credit sales day book. Remember that if you work as a bookkeeper, so if someone buys something from you and paid immediately, you do not record on the sales day book. If the customer said, I'll pay you later, and you send the invoice to them, then only that transaction you record. Only that transaction you record on the sales day book. Any type of cash transaction, customer paid immediately, you never record on the sales day book. Remember that. Sales return day book. Sales return day book, when the customer returned to you. What type of customer? Credit customer. So when the credit customer returned to you, you make a sale to the credit customer, and after a few weeks, customer said, I don't need it. So they return to you. So you record in another book. This is called sales return day book. The next book of prime entry we have purchase day book. Purchase day book is how much credit purchase you make from your supplier. So how much you buy from your supplier. What type of purchase? Credit purchase. Remember that, not the cash. So all the sales day book don't deal with the cash. So no cash purchase, no cash sale. All the credit book, they don't deal with that. So only the cash book, we have cash purchase or cash sale. All the credit sale and credit purchase come to the sales day book. So we have sales day book, sales return day book, purchase day book, purchase return day book. On the purchase return day book, we record all the credit purchase returns. So if I buy something from the supplier, and if I return to my supplier, this is a credit purchase return. I record on the return day book. When I buy, I record on the purchase day book. When I return, I record on the purchase return day book. Remember, in the accounting system, we never delete anything. For example, if I buy today and tomorrow, if I return, I don't just delete the entry. So I say, okay, I buy it and I return it. So we don't need this transaction, isn't it? So let's delete it. Never do that. We never delete anything. If we made a mistake, we do correction other way, but we never delete the entry. Okay, so we have another book, that is petty cash book. Petty cash book is all about small expenses, as I tell you, like all the small expenses. For example, £2 for the coffee, £5 for the postage, £5 for the delivery, £5 for the client visit, taxis. All the small expenses you record in a book. This is called petty cash book. And the journal book. Journal book means where you record the debit and credit. So the meaning of the journal, if I make it simple, that is debit and credit. So we have a complete 2 chapter for the journal, debit, credit. We're going to learn everything from there. Okay, let's have a look, go inside. Let's see what we have here for our books of prime entry. The first one we can see here, first example, sales day book. Now, my question to everyone, on the sales day book, what type of sales we record? Credit sale or cash sale? What type of sales I'm going to record on this book? Book means it is a template. It could be Excel, it could be your software, QuickBooks, Xero, Sage, any software. So sales day book, and on the sales day book, what type of sales we record? Only the credit sale. Very well done, everyone. Very well done, Jude. So only the credit sale. Remember, if the question tell you cash sale 100, credit sale 200, don't take the cash one, only the credit one. So let's have a look what we have here. The first column we make debt. So if you work for a company and if the company said, listen, we don't have a software, we're a very small company, we don't use any system, everything we do on the Excel. So if your manager asks you, or on the interview, if they ask you, do you know how to prepare the sales day book? You said, I know how to do it, because we're going to learn how to prepare the sales day book. The first column we have debt. The next column we have details. On the details column, we record the name of the customer. Then we record the invoice number. Every order we send invoice to the customer, isn't it? Every time the order we send invoice for the money. Customer code. You already know how to create the code. This is the customer code. Now we have 3 things. We have total, we have VAT and net. This one we have to understand very well. Net means no VAT. Total means VAT included. That means if I added VAT plus net, it will be equal to total. So total means VAT plus net. Total means gross, VAT plus net. And net means there is no VAT. It's a simple thing, but you need to remember that. Now on the last column, you can see they said sales type 1 and sales type 2. They give you 2 columns. Now you might think, what is sales type 1 and sales type 2? So this is just an example. One company can sell more than one type of product. For example, you sell coffee and you sell also tea. So you have 2 products. Maybe you sell sugar, so you sell 3 type of product. So one business can sell more than one type of product. So you make a separate column for different product. So that if I want to know how much money I receive from the sale of coffee, so I record on the coffee column. How much money we received or how much we sell for the tea is come to the tea column. If I make another column like for the sugar, how much we make sell for the sugar, so you can record on this sugar column. So it's like what you need. It's not like something is mandatory. It's not like it's just examples. So you can make 100 column if you need. If you sell 100 product, if you make 1 product, you write that product name. That's it. All right. So on the sales type 1, one more thing I want all of you to remember. On the sales type, this all figure are net. This all figures are net. I'll tell you why. So when we get a money from the customer, let's say I make a sales to Evelina. So I make a sale £100 to Evelina. I said, Evelina, the selling price is £100. VAT is £20. So the total I'm going to charge you 120. So I'm going to charge to Evelina 120 pounds. Now my question is that 120 pounds the total amount I will keep, or I'm going to share with someone this money? What is the answer? Like if I'm taking 120 pounds from Evelina, do I keep all of money, or I'm going to share this money with someone? What will be the answer for that? What do you think? We're going to share, isn't it? We're going to share with whom? With HMRC. Very well done, Sharon. Because if you keep all this money by yourself, 120, HMRC will not be happy, isn't it? If you keep all this 120, HMRC will not be happy. HMRC will say, listen, you make a sale, that's fine, but VAT is not belongs to you. The VAT you collect in 20% is for me. So the government, the HMRC, Her Majesty Customs, isn't it? And Revenue and Customs. So Her Majesty will not be happy. So if you don't give any money to her or to the HMRC, they will not be happy. And if they're upset, you cannot do the business, isn't it? You need to make them happy. So if you don't share the money, so you'll be in trouble, your business will be closed. So this money, the VAT, basically, even though you are taking from the customer, but it not belongs to you. You just work as the employee for the HMRC. So HMRC don't send the people to collect the VAT for them. So they said, listen, your business, so you will be work like us. So you take the VAT from the customer, and every 3 months you send it to me, how much VAT you collected. Yeah. So that's why in the sales type, I want to see how much money belongs to me. That's net. So net means this is the £100 is for me, and £20 for the VAT, and 120 I'm going to charge to customer. So out of 120, 100 is a net. So on the sales type, I'm going to see only net. I'm not going to include the total. So net, that means what is the money belongs to me, to my company. All right, so let's do that. One more thing I want to discuss, and that is, for example, if I say the sales is £100 and the VAT is £20, 20%. Sales is £100 and the VAT is 20%. How much will be the VAT? Sales is 100 and the VAT is 20%. How much will be the VAT? Very easy one. VAT will be £20. Very good, because 100 times 20% is 20. Very good. Okay. So my next question, number 2. Total is 120 and the VAT is inside. VAT is included, VAT already inside. How much is the VAT? So yes, the answer is okay. Can anyone tell me how do you get 20? The VAT is 120 is the total. How do you get VAT? £20. Can you do it on your calculator and tell me how do you do that? Divide by 6. Very well done, Evelyn. And Sheila, yes, divide by 6. This one I want all of you to know. Because if the VAT is included, you have to take out the VAT. You don't do 20%. You don't do 20%. Here for the 100, you do 20%. So multiply by 20%. 100 times 20%. That will give you £20. If you do 120 times 20%, it will give you 24. It will give you 24. Remember that. If the question said VAT is total, that means VAT is inside. You never do 20%. What you do? You do 20 divide 120 times 120. This is the formula. 20 divide 120 times 120, the gross amount. Or make it simple, as Evelina and Jody said, divide by 6. Divide by 6. If the question said the VAT is inside or included or gross or total, you need to divide by 6. Okay, so why 6? Because the formula is 20 divide 120 times the gross amount. So not spending too much time to writing the formula, just divide by 6. Your life will be very, very easy. So gross or total VAT divide by 6. Gross or total VAT divide by 6. And if they say net, times by 20%. That's it. Okay, I have one more question to all of you. So it's divide by 6. One more question. VAT is £200. So how much is net? VAT is £200. How much is the net? VAT is £200. How much is the net? How do you get it? I'm asking for the net, Sadia. Net. I'm asking for the net. VAT is £200. How much is the net? Very well done, Colum. Very well done, Jody. Yes, all of you, most of you get the right answer. Because if the 20% is 200, How much will be the 100%? Because 20% is the VAT, isn't it? So if the 20% is 200, the net is 100%, isn't it? So 100% will be 1000. I just multiply by 5, isn't it? So if my net is 1000 and the VAT is 200, how much will be the gross? The gross will be 1200. Very, very well done. So we have to learn 3 things. If the question said there is no VAT net, we have to multiply by 20%, get the VAT. If the question said the gross, the VAT is inside, we have to divide by 6 to get the VAT. If the question said only VAT, what you need to do? We need to do multiply by 5 to get the net. Very, very good. So let's move on. Let's move on to this question. Let's do some practice. So in this question, we can see here, we have sales day book. On the sales day book, they said sales invoice have been prepared and partially entered in the sales day book. VAT rate is 20%. So they gave us sales type 1 and 2. This is the net amount. Remember, this 2 amount is always net, no VAT. Okay, so let's complete the whole sales day book. First, you need to copy this one because this is net 2500, 300, the net, and 665. Then our next question is, how much is the VAT? So tell me how much is the VAT on 2500. Let's do this one. Number 1, 31st of August, K lead, and we need to complete this empty thing. So empty 3 box, total, VAT, and net. So net is 2500. How much is the VAT? Net is 2500 times 20%, isn't it? So VAT is 500. Okay, if the VAT is 500, how much will be the gross? If the VAT is 500, how much will be the gross? The gross will be 2000. Very well done. So gross means VAT plus net. So 2500 plus 500, that is 3000. Yes, very well done. Peter, is not 2000 because net plus VAT is the total. The total means the VAT included. Net means no VAT. All right, do the next one then. 300. 300 is the net. How much is the VAT there? 300 times 20%. How much is the VAT? 60. 60. Very well done. And how much will be the total then? 360. Very good. And after that, we'll do the last one. That is our net 665. 665. How much is the VAT there? 665 times 20%. And that gives us 133. That is our VAT. And if we added the VAT, so our total will be 665 plus 133. So our total will be 798. 798. Very well done. Very well done, Tamir. Yes. Peter, you're totally lost in this. If you're lost in here, in this question, and later on it's going to be hard to find you. So the hard question will come slowly. So let's have a look at that. So all you need to do, you need to add the 20%. So 2500, you can see this is your net. And you times by 20%. So that is your VAT, that is 500. So if the VAT is 500, how much is the total? Net plus VAT is your total 3000. And we do everything for the same way. All right. Okay, after that, all you need to do, we need to make the total of every column. They said total the last 5 columns on the sales book. So let's do that. The first column we have 3000 plus 360 plus 798, and that should be 4158. 4158. The next one, the total VAT. How much is the total VAT? 500 plus 60 plus 133, that is 693. Very well done, column. 693. And finally, the net. Net is 2,500 plus 300 plus 665. 3465. 3465. And then we have sales type 1, 2,500 plus 665. That is 3165. 3165. And the final one is 300. So you don't have to add, you know it. That's it. So that's how we can prepare the sales type book. Now, if you are in a workplace, if someone asks you, you know what is inside of the sales type book, you said, I know what is inside. You know how to do record the transaction, you said, I know how to do it. So sales type book, we'll learn how to do the sales type book. Okay, let's move on to do the sales return day book. Sales return day book. This is our net. You see the first one, sales return, 350. This is our net. Okay, so 350 is the net. How much is the VAT here? 350 is the net. How much is the VAT? That is £70. Very well done. And how much will be the gross? That is 420. Very well done, Sadia. 420. Very well done, Jyoti. Yes, Chetas, you have the right answer. Now, the next one. Total is 270. How much is the VAT and how much is net? You see, slowly, the hard question is coming. 270 is the total. How much is the VAT? $45. Very well done. 45. Everyone have the good answer. Right answer, 45. And how much is the net? 225. Very well done, Tamir. 225. Very, very good. Okay, the next one. That's the difficult one, isn't it? So we have the VAT 200. And how much is the net? So they give us only the VAT. They're asking for the net and the gross. How do you get 1200 columns? So I'm asking for the net. Very good. The net is 1000. Yes, very well done. You missed 10, Sharon. So it should be 1000. That's all right. Doesn't matter what is the figure, but I want all of you to understand how we end up with that. Because in the exam, we'll not have the same figure, but if you understand it, this is the main thing. So you understand if the question gave you only VAT, how could you end up with the net and total? Very well done, everyone. Yes, all of you have the right answer. Very good. Now, all you need to do, they said, add the last 4 columns. So let's do the last 4 columns, just adding up. Let's do the total one first. 420 plus 270 plus 1200, and that will give us the total of 1890. The good thing is, like, if we do it together, we don't have to do it alone. So for example, if you practice with me, we do it together. So maybe after the class, you don't have to spend too much time, because once you do at the same times, it start making more sense. so that you will not feel like, okay, I need more time, because when you do at the same time, you're already revising with me, and it's really good, and you remember it for long. All right, the VAT is VAT 315, Tamir. Okay, 315. I'll go with Tamir. And the net. How much is the net we have? This one is 350 anyway, isn't it? Sales return. When just VAT, you can not multiply, it's divide, Tanya. So when you want to get the VAT, let's say £100 is the net, and if you want to know how much is the VAT, you can divide by 5, or you can do 20%. Same thing. 1575, okay, 1575. When only VAT is known. Okay, so when, for example, if your VAT is 20, and if you want to know the net, so you multiply by 5. Yes, that's true. Yeah. Okay, so this is the one we have done. Very well done. Any question from here? Obviously, let me know if you have any question. Let's move on to the next one we have. Let's see what else we have. So let's move on to the next. The next activity, you have purchase day book. I have the same question for everyone. What type of purchase are you going to record? Credit purchase or cash purchase, or both? What type of purchase I'm going to record on the purchase day book? Credit purchase. So all of you, please remember what you're saying to me here. You remember on the exam day as well, because on the class I have seen the student telling me it's only credit purchase, and when they sit on the computer on the exam day, I have seen they took the cash as well. I don't understand, like, how come they forget this? Now Peter is saying both. Peter, why are you saying both? On the purchase day book, we never take the cash purchase. We only take the credit purchase. So very, very careful. You don't take all. On the purchase day book, you only recorded the credit purchase. Cash purchase will go to cash book. Anything relevant to cash, go to cash book. So purchase day book only relevant to credit purchase. Sales day book only relevant to credit sale. Purchase return day book only relevant to credit purchase return. Sales return day book only relevant to credit sales return. Only credit. Anything cash, go to cash book. Okay, let's do this one then. We have a purchase here and we have expense, because we can spend money for two reasons. Either it is a purchase or it is expense. Who can tell me the difference between the purchase and the expense? What is the main difference between the purchase and the expense? What is the difference between these two? Difference between the purchase and the expense. Anyone can tell me? No? Okay, so let me tell you. So purchase, when you buy something and you receive the physical good. For example, if I buy something, let's say I buy this calculator and I got it physically, so I received the calculator, that's a purchase. But when I use the let's say if I use the electricity, if I do the haircut, so I'm not receiving something physically, so I'm receiving the services. So if I paid for the services, we call it expenses. Let's say rent. You pay the rent, that's the expenses. For the rates, for the bills, advertising, all of this you paid. Yes, very well done, Column. Yes, you have the kind of right answer. Yes. Yeah. Money for product is purchased. Yes, Tamir, you're right. So obviously when you buy something and you receive something physically, let's say I go to Tesco and buy a bottle of water, this is a purchase. And if I go for a haircut, I don't receive anything. So this is services, that's the expenses. For example, if I pay for the rent, pay for the rate, pay for the advertising, pay for the insurance, anything I paid for, and I don't receive anything physical, that's all expenses. All right, so let's do that now. Expenses is a net 9520. 130. Purchase is net 5240. All net here. Let's do this one quickly. Net is 9520, the first one. Deal limited. How much is the VAT? 9520 is a net. 9520 is a net. 20% is the VAT. So 1904. 1904 is our VAT. How much is the total? That is 11,424. Very good. Move to the next one. Net is 130 times 20% is the VAT, 26, and the total is 156. I'm sure that's the easy one, so don't have to worry about too much. 1048. So the total is 6288. All right, very good. And after that, all you need to do, they said total the first 5 columns, the last 5 columns. All you need to do, you need to make total of this. That's it. Okay, that's fine. So let's move to the next one. Let's see what book we have. Purchase return day book. Let's do this one again. The first one is net 120. Purchase return day book. So the purchase return day book. On the purchase return day book, we can see here the net is 120. No problem, Peter. So you can have, of course, as I said, the video will be recorded. Later on, you can obviously you can watch the video once again. There is no problem. But if you have any question, you can always ask me. You're welcome to ask any question. Okay, the net is 120. We can see here. So how much will be the VAT there? 120 times 20%. So VAT will be 24. Very well done, Tanya. So 24 is the VAT. And how much will be the total? The total will be 144. All right. Yes, very well done, very well. So we have this. The next one is the total is 1050. How much is the VAT? 1050 total. How much is the VAT? 175. How did you get 175, Tanya? So all you need to do, we need to divide by 6. Very well done. Very well. You need to remember that, like when the VAT is inside, you need to divide by 6. Never do 20% if the VAT inside. So how much is the net? 1050 minus 175, and the net is 875. Yes, very good, Evelina. Yes, divide by 6. Okay, then after that, all you need to do, you need to add the total. So total of this, and total of this. They said total the last 3 columns. We just add, we know how to do it. Okay, so let's move on to our next one. Let's see what else we have. The cash book. Let's have a look. What is the example we have? Okay, the sales ledger. Okay, let's talk about the sales ledger. What is the sales ledger? Okay, let's say before we start the sales ledger, let's take a break. So we are in 9:45 or 7:40. So let's take a break. Let's take a 20-minute break. We'll come back around 8 o'clock, and we're going to start from here, activity 5, sales ledger. So let's take a 20-minute break. We'll come back 8 o'clock. And before we leave, please make sure you write it down your full name for the attendance, so that admin team, they can update your attendance. So we'll take a break now for 20 minutes. We'll come back 8 o'clock, and we'll start our lesson from here. And before you leave, please make sure you write it down your name on the chatting option, so that we can do the attendance for you. So I'm going to see all of you. I'm going to see all of you in 20 minutes. All right, welcome back. So let's start with our sales ledger activity 5. Hopefully everyone joined. So let's start with our sales ledger activity 5. Now let's talk about sales ledger. What is sales ledger? Ledger account is like to represent the individual customer outstanding balance. For example, if I want to know how much is balance outstanding from one of my credit customer, so we look at his sales ledger account. For example, if I say how much is due from a customer name, for example, if you have a customer named Tanya, so let's say I said how much is due from Tanya. So I look at Tanya's sales ledger account. So sales ledger Tanya. So this account will tell me how much is due, how much is outstanding from Tanya. Now in sales ledger, it's like a T format. Remember the word ledger account. As soon as we heard the word ledger account, we understand this means we have to record something on the T account. T account, why we say T account? Because it looks like T. This account looks like T. That's why normally we say the T account. On the left-hand side of the sales ledger or any ledger account, we say debit side, and the right-hand side is the credit side. What is debit and credit we'll see later on. For the time being, just remember left-hand side is the debit side, right-hand side is the credit side. Now, remember, if I have a credit customer, if I'm expecting some money from a customer, let's say I make a sales to Tanya and I'm expecting 500 pounds from her. So this one is my asset. If I'm expecting any money from my credit customer, this is the asset for me. So Tanya is our asset. Tanya is the asset for my company because I'm going to expect some money. I'm going to receive some money from Tanya. If I expect any money from Tanya because of the credit sale, that is my asset. And all this asset come in the debit side. So I'm going to write all the invoice on the debit side. If I make a sales, again sales, again sales. So any type of sales I make, I record on the debit side. So how many types I sell to Tanya doesn't matter. Every time I make a sale, I record on the debit side. On the other hand, if Tanya paid any money to me, for example, Tanya paid something to me. So if Tanya paid any money, I'm recording on the other side. So this side is like a plus, and other side is like a minus. So writing in this side, the credit side means it's minusing the balance. Writing on the credit side means minusing the balance. So for example, if I write any money I receive from Tanya, I record here like a bank. If I give any discount to Tanya, I record in this side, discount allowed. And if anything returned by Tanya to me, so any return she make, I'm writing on the credit side again. And if there is a return, we record credit note. If there is a return, we call it credit note. So if I make a sale, so I'm expecting money, I'm record on the debit side. If she already paid any money, that is bank. If she return any money, that is credit note. And if I give any discount to her, that is discount allowed. For any reason, if her balance going down, then I record on the other side. So recording on the debit side, I'm expecting more money. Recording on the credit side, the balance outstanding will go down, will be reduction of the total outstanding balance. So let's have a look. This one. Let's say this transaction happened, Fred and Co. Okay, that's fine. So at the beginning, we're talking about sales ledger. Sales ledger means the customer account. Sales ledger means the customer account. What type of customer? Credit customer. Sales ledger means credit customer account. Purchase ledger means supplier account. What type of supplier? Credit supplier. Let's have a look. At the beginning, I make a sales to Fred and Co. So I'm expecting this money, 3425. Then I make sales again to that person, to that company, invoice number 125. So I'm expecting more money, 4561. So I'm saying to Fred, you have to pay me 3,425 plus 4,561 because you buy twice from me. So 2 times you buy from me, you have to pay for that. Now, before I ask for that money, I have to see, is there any money already paid by Fred? So I can see Fred already paid to me payment on my bank 1952. So if this company or if this person already paid some money, he's not going to pay this one again, isn't it? So we have to minus this amount. I'll say, Fred, you don't have to pay all because you already paid some money. So let me minus that. So I'm going to say 1952, that is minus. And I'm going to tell Fred also, Fred, you don't have to pay the 553 pound because you return something to me. And if you return the product, so you don't have to pay for that product. So I'm going to minus this one as well. And whatever is the balance, this is the money I'm expecting from Fred. So that means this 2 will come to the debit side and rest of this 2 will come to the credit side. Writing on the debit side is increasing the balance. Writing on the credit side will be decrease the balance. Now this question is asking us, how much does Fred & Co. owe to Gregory and Son? Gregory and Son is the supplier. So how much the Fred & Co. still need to pay? How much they still need to pay? So we can get the figure, isn't it? It's not difficult. All you need to do, we need to write it down to the right side. So here I'm going to write invoice. That is 121. Amount is 3425. Then I'm going to write another invoice. That is 125. That is 4561. This invoice. And any money with reduction that will go to the other side of the T account. I'm going to write here bank. That is 1952. And the credit note, I'm going to write 553. I'm going to add this 2. I'm going to add this one and minus this 2. That will give me how much is expecting from Fred & Co. So let's do that. 3425 plus 4561 minus 1952 and minus 553. So 5481. Very well done, Sabira. Very well done, Evelyn. I have someone iPhone, I don't know your name, so you got the right answer as well. So let's do that. We're expecting 5481. Very well done. So that's how we do the sales ledger. So once we have the sales ledger portion, remember that. So all the invoice will come to the debit side. Payment, credit note, and the discount allowed, that will reduction the total amount will go to the other side. This is the opposite of purchase ledger. If this is a purchase ledger, supplier account, that time it is a liability. So that time opening balance and the invoice will go to credit side and the bank and discount receipt will come to the debit side. We'll see it, how to do that. There's a template of the sales ledger control. You have to remember that, like sales ledger for individual customer, for one customer. Let's talk about the purchase ledger now. This is just the opposite of sales ledger. On the purchase ledger, we talk about credit supplier. Now I'm not expecting money. I'm expecting to pay my supplier. How much money is like outstanding from my supplier? So not my supplier to my supplier. So how much money I have to pay to my supplier? So we can see here at the beginning, we have buy, we have purchase, invoice number 101, that is 4250. So I have to pay for that. And I purchase again, I buy again, that is 9682. Then I make some payment, that is 4250. That will be minus if I make the payment. And I return something, credit note, I return 1032, so I'm not going to pay for that. So I buy twice and paid 4250 and return 1032. So how much I'm going to pay to that supplier? So how much is still outstanding to my supplier? It will tell my outstanding balance. Okay, so on the ledger account, I'm going to show this time opposite. So invoice will come this side. I'm going to write invoice this side on the credit side, that is 4250, invoice 9682. Remember, sales ledger control invoice on the debit side, purchase ledger control invoice on the credit side. So sales ledger debit side, purchase ledger credit side. Then the bank will come this time this side, that is 4250, and the credit note is 1032. So how much money is still we need to pay to my supplier? Let's do that. 4250 9682 minus 4250 minus 1032. That is 8650. How do you get 9650, Tamir? Should be 8650. 8650. So from the sales ledger and the purchase ledger will be always the difference. So sales ledger start from the debit side, purchase ledger from the credit side. So you need to remember that template. All right, so let's move on. Let's see what else we have. This is the end of the chapter. Let's move to the next chapter. Chapter number 3. As we said, at least we're planning to do 3 chapters one day. So there is a lot of exercise like at the end of the chapter. This is called test your learning. You can try that. Test your learning by yourself. Okay, chapter number 3, we have VAT and discount. So from this chapter, we're going to see how we calculate the VAT and the discount. Okay, the first thing we need to understand, what is VAT? Can anyone tell me what is VAT except it is value-added tax? Don't tell me it is a value-added tax. So what is VAT? Say anything except the value-added tax. What do you think? What is VAT? We pay to HMRC. Yes, Tahmina, we pay to HMRC. Indirect tax on goods services. Yes, Priya, it's indirect tax. Ilwana, yes, it's indirect tax. The charge HMRC adds on applicable goods and service. Yes, this is true column. Yeah. Yeah, that's all true. But have you ever think like why you pay VAT? Because when you earn money, when you work somewhere, you pay tax, you pay national insurance, they take all the money from your salary and they give you the net amount. So they got all the tax and national insurance, the pension, and they give you the money. And this money, when you're going to spend in a restaurant, in a shop, you buy something and you pay another 20%. So for example, when you work for someone, you pay tax 20% after the personal allowance, you pay 12% national insurance, and you pay 5% pension. So after that, you receive the money, net amount. And when you're going to use this money to anywhere, shop, restaurant, because you have to spend it, and you pay another 20% VAT. So actually, how many percentage you're paying from your salary? So it's almost like 57%, isn't it? Almost 57% you paid from your salary to HMRC. Now, this VAT, they don't take it straight away from your salary, but they will allow you to spend and you pay VAT there. It's the same story at the end. But you need to understand why you pay VAT. Let me tell you why. So when the product have a modification and added some extra value, so you need to pay VAT. I'll give you some example. For example, if you buy meat, raw meat from the meat shop, let's say in the corner we have a Turkish shop, isn't it? So they sell raw meat. If you check the receipt, you'll see there is no VAT. You'll never see, you buy the raw meat, you'll never see the VAT there. Sometimes you see some shop, they sell fresh fish. If you buy that fish, there is no VAT. Because if you sell something that can be found as it is or same and the nature. For example, you catch the fish from the river and you sell it. So you never done anything with the fish. You just catch the fish and you sell it. So you never done any modification. So you don't add the VAT. The meat. So for example, if you have a cow and you just cut it and you get the meat, there is no VAT because that's natural. As soon as you add some salt, you add some vinegar, you add some spices and put in a tin, then the VAT comes because it is not natural. You've done some modification. So if any product that you don't find naturally and you added something on that, so you added VAT. So any product, any services that added some value that wasn't like before same, so you pay VAT for that. So if something is as natural, there is no VAT for that. As soon as you add any modification, for example, if you buy the water, like you see the raw water, there is no VAT. You pay for the water, there is no VAT for that. But as soon as they said they've done some clarification, they've done some modification, they make it crystal clear, blah blah blah. So there is something, and they said a VAT. So as soon as you made some any modification that wasn't before like that, then there is a VAT would be added. So this is the main condition of the VAT, or this is the main logic to add the VAT because they added some modification. So if you get the fish from the pond or from the river, you sell it, there is no VAT. But as soon as you cut the fish and you add some salt and put it in a tin, there is a VAT because you've done some modification. So modification lead to VAT. Okay, now no VAT on apples, Tanya? I don't know, to be honest. Like, is there any VAT on apples or not? I have no idea. So, but some product is VAT exempted. For example, children clothes, children milk, this type of product, the government said you don't have to pay VAT. So some product is VAT exempted. Okay, so how many types of VAT we have? How many types of VAT we have? What is 20, 12, and 5%, Sharon? I really don't understand what you mean. Anyway, so, oh, that too was 20, sorry. So 20% is the tax. So from your income, you pay 20% tax. 12% you pay the national insurance, and 5% you pay pension. This is just example. You don't have to really understand it. So I'm just trying to make you understand. You already pay 20% tax on your income, 12% national insurance, 5% pension. On top of that, when you spend the money, you pay another 20% VAT. So I just try to say, like, even from your income, you paid more than 50% to government back. So government give you £100 and take £57 back from you, because you cannot just eat money, isn't it? So you have to spend the money. When you spend, the VAT is gone 20%. So at the end, the government getting it back. Okay, so we have a yes, Chetas, you're right, but we don't go that far, like 0 rated or standard rated, because this is the subject we have in level 3, that is indirect tax. So right now, for the time being, we'll understand there is two type of VAT for the calculation purpose. One is input VAT and one is output VAT. So we called it input VAT, so output VAT and input VAT. Input VAT and output VAT. Output VAT means VAT on sale, VAT on sales, and input VAT means VAT on purchase, VAT on purchase. So when you buy something and you pay the VAT, we called it input VAT. When we sell something and collect the VAT from the customer, we called it output VAT. And at the end, you pay HMRC the VAT, the difference between output and input. This difference you pay to HMRC when? Every 3 months. Normally, quarterly you paid VAT to HMRC. So you find how much is the output VAT, that means how much you collected from the customer, how much you pay to your supplier, that is input VAT, and the difference you pay to HMRC. For example, if your output VAT is £100, if your input VAT is £50, so that means you collected £100 from the customer because of the sales, and you paid your supplier £50 because of the purchase. So ultimately, you're going to pay £50 to HMRC because 50 you already paid. Now, if it has happened like your output VAT is not 100, is 50, and your input VAT is 100. For example, you paid more to your supplier and collected less from your customer. So this 50 you'll get back. So refund from HMRC. So you'll get back. You will claim back this money from HMRC. You'll tell, listen, I paid more VAT than I have collected. So my input VAT is more than output VAT. So give me back. So they'll give you back. But it's not happen because your purchase cannot be more than your sales. Then what is the business? So if your sales is £100 and if your purchase is £200, so your expense is double than your income, you'll be in loss. So it's normally it not happen. Normally it happen like when you start the business in the very beginning. For example, when you start a business, on the first month or second month, you buy everything like table, chair, decoration, computer. Only that month your expense is more, but after that you see a customer come in, so your income will be more. Okay, so this is about the VAT. Let's go inside now, have a look what is in the chapter. So we have an output VAT, we have input VAT. This one you can see in the chapter overview. You already know what is it, you already discussed that. Then you have a discount, trade discount. You already know what is trade discount. Trade discount is given to reduce the list price so that the buyer can make the profit. Bulk discount, when you buy a lot quantity, then you get some discount. And the prompt discount is to pay quickly. So tell the customer pay quickly. For example, you said to your customer, if you pay within 30 days is fine, but if you can pay me within 10 days, I'll give you 2% extra discount. So customer will take the discount. This is called prompt discount. Trade discount, bulk discount, and prompt discount. All right, so let's move on to our activities. Let's see what we have here. You can see here they give us some example. They said formula to learn. Here they said net amount times VAT rate. So on the net there is no VAT inside. They said you can divide by 5. If you want to know how much is the VAT, you divide by 5, you'll get the VAT. So VAT on net amount, VAT on net. You can do 20%. Let's say if I said £100, how much is the VAT inside? That's a net. If I said there is no VAT inside, so it's a net amount, no VAT inside. How much is the VAT? You can do 20%, or you can divide by 5, which will give you the same answer. So it's not something difficult. You already know it. So let's move to the VAT question. Okay, let's do that. They said VAT is 100, net is 100. How much is the VAT? How much is the gross? I think that's very easy question. So let's quickly do that. So 100 is the net. How much will be the VAT? 20%. That will be 20, isn't it? 20% is the VAT. So 100 times 20%, that will give you 20. And the gross will be 120. Then you have a 350 times 20%. The VAT is 70. And the total will be 420. I'm just quickly doing it because I don't think there's anything here to understand because you already know it. 3898.34 times 20%. So the VAT is 779.6667. The total is gross is 4678. 6,500 times 20%. The VAT is 1,300. And the total is 7,800. That's it. So there is not much thing to discuss here. So let's move on. Then we have calculating the VAT, gross to net. Now this one, the gross amount, you already know it. As I said, if we use the formula, what we do 20 divided 120 times the gross amount. But it is very easy and time saving if we do just divide by 6. So just divide by 6, it will save a lot of time. What you do, just make it divide by 6. So it will give us the answer very quickly. So rather than doing like gross amount times 20 divided 120, we know the formula is good. There is nothing to lose. But if we know if the VAT is inside, divide by 6, that will make our life very easy. If the VAT is gross, total divide by 6. That's it, divide by 6. Okay, so let's do some gross VAT practice. Let's have a look. Do you have an example? Let's do that. Everyone try that, because this is the one we have problem, like gross to net. The first one, 240 gross amount. How much is the VAT inside? 240 divide 6. So the VAT we have 40. Very well done, Janoska. Yes, very well done, Jude. Very well done, Muriel. Yes, so 40 is the VAT. How much is the net? So 40 minus 240, we already know it is 200. 200 is the net. Then we have 660. Again, divide by 6. 660 divided by 6. The VAT is 110. Very well done, Jishan. So 110 is the VAT. And how much is the net? 660, 550, 550. Very good. Then 594. 594 divided by 6. The VAT is 99. 99. So how much is the net? 594. And the net will be 495. 495. Very well done. And we have 1260 divide 6. That is 210. Very well done, Evelina. 210 is our VAT. And the net will be how much? 1050. Very well done, Sadia. So 1050 is our net. So now I think more or less we can calculate the VAT, isn't it? So if they give us net, we can say how much is the gross, how much is the VAT. If someone give us the gross amount, we can tell how much is the VAT, how much is the net. If someone even give us only the VAT, still we can tell how much is the gross and how much is the net. So hopefully, like now we understand at least a little bit how to calculate the VAT. Okay, let's move on about the discount now. Let's talk about the discount. What discount we have here? We have a trade discount, we have a bulk discount. You can read the explanation, what does that mean? But I think you already know it, so you're gonna do the practice straight away. Okay, so we have a discount here. Let's do this question, activity 3, VAT and discount. So car parts are US sell a car engine, that means one car engine, with a list price. What is the list price? Can anyone remember that? List price means, what does that mean, list price? List price means before any discount. List price means before any discount. Before any discount. List price before any discount. Okay. Then list price is £15,000. Okay. To Marcus car and on 9th of August. That's fine. A trade discount 4,000 is available. Trade discount 4,000 is available, and 10% prompt discount is offered if the invoice paid within 14 days. So the supplier is telling the list price is 15,000. I'll give you 4,000 trade discount anyway, and I will give you another 10% discount if you can pay the invoice within 14 days. Now, remember, I'm telling all of you very carefully, prompt discount will never include the invoice. Trade discount, bulk discount, we take away, we give the total figure to the customer. But prompt discount will never include on the invoice. You know why? Because we don't know the customer going to accept it or not. So I need to send the invoice. On the bottom of the invoice, I write it down. If you pay within 14 days, I'll give you 10% off. But I don't include the discount on the invoice because I don't know customer going to take it or not. If the customer call me, if the customer email me like, okay, I'm happy to pay you, or if the customer pay me within 14 days, I will send a separate credit note for that. If the customer really pay me within 14 days, I'll send another credit note for that, separate one. But I will never include this discount without like confirmation because I don't know the customer going to take the offer or not. It's open offer. The company register for VAT and the VAT rate is 20%. Okay. So list price is 15,000. Okay. Trade discount 4,000. Sales price net of trade discount. So sales price after the trade discount, that is 11,000, 15 minus 4. And the VAT, how much is the VAT? 11,000 times 20%, 2,200. And how much is the total? 18,200. So we are going to send invoice for 13,200 pounds to the customer. How we calculate that? I will say, listen, I'll tell the customer, listen, the list price was 15,000. I gave you 4,000 discount. So the net is 11,000. On the net amount, I have to add the 20% VAT. That is 2,200 and the total is 13,200. So I'm expecting this money to the customer, but I also had an option. I said, if you pay me within 14 days, I'll give you another 10% off. I'm not going to include it here because I don't know the customer going to pay it or not. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. The next activity, they said, VAT discount business documents. The bookkeeper at Car Parts RU US in preparing invoice to send the marker's car in respect of the car engine sold in activity 3. So they're talking about this relevant activity 3. Okay. The following details are also available. Invoice date 9 August. So we're talking about this one, 9 August. That's fine. Invoice number 5353, customer account code MC001, product code 9315, VAT rate 20%. They said complete the invoice. We all you need to do, we need to write all the information here. That's it. So we're going to write this. Invoice date 9th August, invoice number 5353, and the customer code MC001. So that's not difficult. So I'm going to write here MC001, invoice number 5353, date 9th of August. Quantity 1 was 1 engine, product code. What was the product code? Product code was 9315. Okay. Product code 9315. List price was 15,000. Net amount after discount was 11,000. VAT was 2,200 and gross was 13,200. We remember that, so that's really easy one. Okay, now the tough one will come, bit tricky one, not the tough, bit tricky. The activity 5. They said Marker's car pays the invoice from car parts within 14 days and take the prompt discount. They said the customer, they accepted the offer, like they will pay within 14 days. So they pay within 14 days. Complete the table below to show the amount to be included on the credit note for Marker's car. So basically, if the customer said, thank you very much for your offer, I would like to take the offer and I'm going to pay within 14 days. So if they pay within 14 days, I'm going to pay 10% less, isn't it? I'm going to take 10% less from the customer. So I charged the invoice for 13,200 full amount, isn't it? Now I have to give them credit note back for 10% because they pay within 14 days. That was the offer, isn't it? So how we calculate that? So we're going to send a credit note, and the credit note, remember that the credit note will be only for the discounted amount. Only for the discounted amount. We don't give all money back. Only the discounted 10%. So 13,200, 10%. How much it is? How much discount I'm going to give? 1320. Very well done. So total is 1320. My next question is it any VAT inside of the 1320 or not? Is there any VAT inside of the 1320 or not? That's my next question. Is there any VAT inside? Yes. If it is yes, how much is the VAT inside? How much is the VAT inside of this 1320? How much is the VAT inside of this 1320? 1320 divided by 6. Remember that. 220. Do not do 20%. Very, very careful. This is the total amount, 10% on the total. We calculate the 10% on the total. That was the total amount expected from the customer. So that means the VAT is already inside. And if the VAT is inside, we divide by 6. Do not do 20%. So 1320 minus 220, that is 1100 will be the net. Very well done. Very good, CP. Very good, Priya and Evelyn. Very good. Okay, so let's have a look. The discount allowed daybook. Discount allowed daybook is all about how much discount you give to the customer. So let's say we give some discount here for the prompt discount. This is prompt payment discount credit note. We can see here the total discount is £12, and inside of the £12 there is a VAT of £2 and the net is £10. So they said how to record it. Let's record that. It's not difficult, just copy it. So you're going to write here discount allowed daybook. Now on the exam you have to click here and there will be so many drop down lists come up. You need to select that one. That is discount allowed daybook. So we pick the information who to give the discount. So you can see here the customer. We have Pervin Co. This is the discount we give. So Pervin Co. How much is the total discount we give? £12. How much is the VAT? £2. And the net is £10. So obviously in the exam the question will be not that easy, like see it and copy it, but this question will be like combined. So we are learning slowly. The more we go inside of the chapter, we'll see the more difficult will come. But if we understand this small thing, the easy thing, the difficult thing will not be difficult, because that's how they teach us slowly. So they are giving the easy thing slowly getting inside, so that we don't feel from where it is coming. Suddenly, if you go to chapter 7 or 8, we'll find a difficulty. So we start from the very beginning. And that's how the course is designed. And I hope it's not going to be difficult. It's going to be easy as it is. And we'll try to explain every single thing. If anything is complex, I try to explain more detail as possible. This is the end of the summary, end of the chapter. You can see that. So you can see we have done 3 chapters today, and that was the plan. So we need to do at least 3 chapters every class if the chapter is not big. Other than we will like finish in 4 class all these books. So today we have done 3 chapters. We have done the business documents. So now we know what type of business document business need to keep. For example, the sales day book, the purchase day book, what type of book of prime entry we need to keep for the company. So if you work for a company as a bookkeeper, I know this book has to be on the company because I know this is a book of prime entry. And if my manager asks me how long the business documents need to keep, I can say 6 years I have to keep. And what type of documentation expect in every aspect. For example, when there is a quotation, what type of document will be generated? When there is a payment request, what is the document? Invoice. When there is a payment, what is the document? That is remittance advice. What is remittance advice? You already know that. Then the next chapter we have done, we have seen like book of prime entry, like cash book, sales day book, sales return day book, purchase book, purchase return day book. So we know what type of transaction come there. So we know like only the credit transaction come to the purchase day book and sales day book, and credit return will be the return day book. And we know the discount type, what is trade discount, what is bulk discount, what is from discount. Now we know how to prepare the invoice. So if my manager give me the order or the delivery note, I can prepare invoice. and we know we need to insert something on the invoice like the quantity, the list price, the discount. We need to know, we already know now invoice has to be dated with the customer. We know the supplier name will be the top, customer name will be on the left corner. And then we have seen the VAT and discount. Now we know how to calculate the VAT. So if there is a gross, divide by 6. If there is a net, multiply by 20%. If there's only VAT, then times by 5 to get the net. So if the question said the gift amount, if they said how to get the figure, we can get it. Then we know how to get the sales ledger and the purchase ledger. So if the question gave it to us like how much is due from this customer, we know how to do it. So all the invoice will come debit side, and the payment and the return come to the credit side, so we get the figure. Then finally we have seen how to record on the invoice for the prompt discount. So prompt discount we never give in the invoice until the question said customer accepted. If the customer accepted, then we send a separate credit note for that, and that credit note is only for the discount. And we already know inside of the discount there is some VAT, and this VAT I have to take out. We divide by 6, we got the VAT. If I have seen this question for the credit note, people write the full figure like 13,300 and 11,000, but you don't give discount for the whole amount. The discount was only for 10%, so you send credit note only for 10%. So even if it's a small thing, but in the exam this will be the mistake. So my advice will be today after the class, I hope like we already know so many things. Because after the class you should have a feeling like you learned something today, because we are spending time together. So 3 hours we're spending together. We have a book, we have a plan to complete the book. So not only for passing the exam, you should have a feeling inside, today I have learned something that helps me to understand a lot about accounting. This is our main purpose. So if you are satisfied like yourself, like I have learned something, that is the achievement. Exam will pass anyway, that's not a problem, but we need to be like happy ourselves like we learned something. That's the main thing. And this is the my advice will be like